So guys, tell us a little bit about your journey as you started. You had your conventional tillage equipment and your conventional tillage planters. How did you make that move to this reduced till, or in a sense, no-till system?
Yeah, so for us, we're real practical, careful, before we go into something new. So the very, very first year we were looking at it, we split a small field. Half of it, we did our normal fall tillage, and we said, okay, we're gonna leave, I think it was 15 acres. Through the spring, leave the cover crop, don't touch it. Got to the spring, tried to figure out what to do. We always kind of knew our fall back plan was to spring plow it and plant. And that first year, 7 or 8 years ago, that's what we did. We started to look at the residue in April, couldn't figure out what to do, and plowed it. And then the next year, we left some additional residue, trying to figure out how to manage it. We brought in sheep and grazed it down. We were bringing sheep in. I mean, yes, we were incorporating animals in the system, but we were bringing it in is manage our residue. We didn't really go after it saying, hey, we need that manure, or we want that biological activity. We wanted residue management. And so, we brought those sheep in, and I think that was the first time that we felt comfortable then in the spring saying, okay, we managed, because we were starting with, a couple feet of radish residue, and then in the spring, it just was too thick of a layer. Once we added the sheep, we kind of got that down to a manageable amount that in the spring, the planting equipment would work through it. So for us, I think that was kind of the first step, is look at it, knowing that you have a fallback plan, and then test to say, okay, can I get it to a residue level that I'm comfortable with?
I was fortunate enough to be involved in a program with Amalgamated Sugar where I was able to do some side-by-side comparisons, and we started with some direct till sugar beets into some stubble, and we compared them side-by-side in a pivot with some conventional till. I was able to do that for a couple of years just to kind of get started, and because really we weren't sure whether it was possible, and it's a little bit of a financial risk to be the first guinea pig that goes out and does something. So to kind of have maybe a little bit of a program that helped me have some reassurance that if I had crop failure, that I was going to kind of be backed up a little bit, gave me some the confidence to try it the first time, and once we were able to do that, do it for a couple of years successfully, and have raised crops that were just as competitive as the conventional till, then the rest is history. We've kind of just moved on from there and into cover crops and some other things.
Brian was braver than I was, because we started growing cover crops, but were too afraid to move away from any conventional tillage. And so we'd say, okay, we believe having that, growing root and diversity in there is good. So we started to do that, but we were always too afraid. We'd get to the end of the fall and we'd say, no, let's go plow it, because we were just nervous that what was it going to look like in the spring, and could we actually get the, core cash crop that was, really keeping the farm afloat. And then finally, like a lot of things in farming, we watched a neighbor do it, Brian, and would drive by and see how it went, and said, hey, we think we can probably do this, because we felt like we had worked out some of the kinks in growing the cover crop, and now it was, could we take that next step and kind of capitalize on that cover crop and just go seed right into it.